Uh-oh. Chris, what's going on?
He's saying it's shaking bad.
What, the engine? Oh, new boat. Trying to get used to it. Not sure about this.
Well, hang on for a second and see what happens.
I'll show you guys, we're going to load these shafts up. They're quite heavy. I want you guys to get all the hardware together from up in here, get it all off the boat, get it bagged and tagged. The socks at the shop labeled, okay? Oh, that's not going to be any good. Yeah, right here too. Yeah, probably not. So you know what that might be from?
I was thinking like an oyster, a piece of coral.
No. Probably what they did was they drilled too far, so you said they had to drill through the...
They didn't drill all the way through any of them. Oh, they pulled them. No, they drilled in and capped it.
Oh, well, that could have been the set screw being too far.
Pushing into the rubber?
Pushing into the rubber and pushing on the shaft.
Okay.
All right. That's why you should never do what they did. So the idea is if the threads and the struts are stripped out, we drill out the hole, run a tap in there and put a bigger set screw. All right. You don't want to...
Because this one had set screws in it. All the rest had flathead screws.
Make sure that we all lift at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Drop the tailgate.
They got some...
Pull
Pull it back a little bit.
You want to go at an angle and just put the tire on them to give them a little, put that right there. And then once they're in there, you can just kind of lay the tire on them to give them a little bit of support.
We'll just put the other one in and I'll throw the tire on top of it.
Okay. I was just thinking about it at an angle so you're not so far back, unless you're comfortable with that.
Chris, watch your head.
Yep.
How much do those things weigh?
Oh, at least 250, 300 pounds.
There we go.
Do the math.
What is that sound?
That is the sound of freedom.
Freedom! All right, guys, what are we doing here?
Drilling new holes.
Yep. Okay, the reason Mel is saying he's going to drill new holes is because these old holes for the cutless bearing set screws, these holes are all, there's no more threads left. And instead of trying to drill an even bigger hole and a bigger set screw, I just said, no, we're going to just, Mel's laying it all out now. He's going to just drill some new holes. What, 1/4 or what are you going with?
1/4, small enough that we can go up if they get damaged again.
Yep. And then so what they'll do is they'll drill new holes in there. They'll put the cutless bearings in. They'll carefully take a drill bit through the hole. They'll dimple this metal right here just a little bit. By the way, this is a cutless bearing. There's the old one. Here's a new one. And what this is it's a bronze sleeve. And it goes into the struts right here. Slides in there. You got to press them in. Inside, it has these little grooves. Well, that's for cooling water to flow through there. So as the shaft spins, it sits on this rubber, but it still has water to cool it. And so, like I said, they will slide these in there. They will then dimple these with a drill bit, not all the way through, just dimple it so the set screw has something to set down in, and they'll put those in. I know I made that pretty simple sounding. It's a lot harder than it sounds, especially with these bigger ones, because they can be a real bear to press in there. Sometimes we have to take a cylinder hone. So sometimes we have to take a cylinder hone, which is what is used for cleaning out cylinders on a piston engine. You remove the piston and you put this down in the cylinder with a drill and spin it, and it cleans it all up. Because there's all kinds of crud in here, what they do is they take this thing, put it in there, and you hook that up to a drill, and then you spin it, and it'll clean. There's stones on here. These are stones, actually, grinding stones. And you spin it, and it'll take all that crud away, and it'll make installation a little bit easier. So Mel's got the drill. Mel's going to drill some holes, and then AJ has a tap, and that's called a 1/4 tap. So 1/4 inch is the diameter. So that's a 1/4 inch, 0.250. And then the pitch of the threads is the 20. So
No, 20 threads
yeah,
per inch.
Right, pitch of the threads.
The pitch is 1.75.
Oh, okay. 1.75, 20 threads per inch. And then this is just a little ratchet thing, and they put that in the hole after Mel drills it, and you go back and forth and
Makes it a lot easier.
cuts it off. So that's what they're doing. Where do I have to go next? Okay, I got to go back to the shop.
All right, Mel, what are we doing here today?
Well, we've got an old Detroit diesel engine generator, and the starter, as we showed yesterday, was it's loose.
Speaking about yesterday, good news.
The other generator is running fine now. They ran it all night,
Yeah,
so
that one ran all night, so
we're good with that. But The starter is loose because one of the bolts is missing. One of the bolts is loose and I'm having a difficult time tightening it, so I gotta investigate that. But we have this special bolt for the starter on this generator. This is not your standard bolt. If you look at the head, theoretically, according to the size of that threaded shank, that head should be much bigger. But because of the installation, where it has to go, it cannot be any bigger than this. So they need this big shank to handle the torque of this motor to start this diesel engine. So because it's in a small space, they use a large bolt. So I got to try to get the other bolt out. We've got to find a bolt like this. I'm not confident we're going to find it here locally. We may have to order it or do something for a temporary until we can get the one, because we have to troubleshoot this one to figure out why it's all been disconnected. The customer has just taken over the boat and they're trying to move it to a new location. They want to get everything up and running the best they can first. We will see if we can get this one started. Yesterday we had no fuel connection, so the gentleman here has connected to fuel, has said he has a good battery on it, so I'll try to get this starter secured so we can try to start it. But first we have to get all the air out of the fuel line, first of all. That's the first thing. Short period of time, I would say maybe a couple of minutes or so, because then it ran all the fuel out of this fuel line and the fuel filter. I think we're going to have to pump a lot of air out. But this bolt here will not tighten.
Any more gap or no?
No, the gap's gone, so maybe with 2 bolts we'll be okay to try to start it, just for troubleshooting, and then see what happens. Not getting any fuel. What is this supposed to do? Where does that go? This goes to the... Geez, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, what you got there now?
Well, we're trying to get some fuel to the engine, but this engine doesn't have a thumb primer or push primer manual. Just checking everything, and I'm finding some water in here in the separator. Trying to get some fuel to come out. Looks like fuel there. See it on the water?
Yeah.
Now we're getting some fuel, and maybe, if it works, I can get the fuel to come in without breaking a bunch of lines loose. I don't suspect it's going to work too well, but all I can do is try, because this engine is so old. But something is inside here, I believe, because this should be coming out a little bit better than this. There we go. Now we're getting fuel. But it seems like there's something stuck inside here.
Does that have a hole in the bottom or no?
No, this is just the screw for draining. We'll try that and see what happens. All right, here's what we got. We got an old Detroit diesel engine here. Priming on the fuel system. It has no finger pump, no manual pump, no lift pump, electric, or anything. The way you have to do it is take the valve cover off, which we've done. Each one of these goes to the injectors. So we have to crack open here these 4 lines to get the fuel to pump through. And then hopefully we can get this thing to run. Okay, we got the injector open. We're going to give it a little crank and see what happens. Put the rag in here because we don't want fuel running back down in to the bottom of the engine into the oil. That's not going to be good for the engine. So we'll give it a crank and see what happens here.
You ready?
Go ahead. Now what we want is to see fuel just come straight up on out. This may take a while because we have ran the engine completely dry on fuel, because I can't really get in here to open these. There's no room. So,
Bleeding the fuel is not going as planned.
no, it's not working out so well. Try this one and see, I guess. I don't know. That's all I can do. I'll just try it. All right. Let's give it a shot. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah. All right. Here we go. We're going to try it. Go ahead. We're getting a little bit of air bubbles. I just think it's going to take some time. All right. We've got it all aired out, or air out, bled out. We'll give it a try, see if it'll do anything.
You ready?
Go ahead, crank it up. Maybe a little bit more. Let's try this one again, see what happens.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Give it a whirl.
All right, here we go. Hang on for a second and see what happens.
We replacing the fuel sender on this Boston whaler because the old sender was a little finicky, especially when the tank was lower than like 30%. So we pulled the old sender out and dropped the new one in, and I just got to calibrate it now. This is on Montauk, right? Boston whaler Montauk?
Dauntless.
Dauntless. That's what it is. Let me look it up real quick just to make sure we get the right total
Calibration
fuel.
stuff.
Yeah. Make sure how many gallons are in it.
What kind of fuel you been putting in here?
Rec 90. If your boat sits for a good amount of time, it's recommended to put Rec 90 so you don't have water issues with your fuel.
Hey, don't fall in there.
No, I don't see it labeled. Everyone online is saying 75, but the other day I was looking, it said 60 something.
Yeah.
And he's saying 50 something. So the new one says 66.5. The old ones are supposed to be 75 gallons.
The spec sheet for this boat says that it's a 75-gallon fuel tank.
Okay, so it's 75.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would explain it.
Yeah, that would explain why it was reading so low.
Oh, now we know.
Yeah.
Holds more fuel. So we can go further.
Yeah.
We need it calibrated right, so we...
Yeah. So I'm going into the settings in here because we got to calibrate the fuel into Mercury. And you can go to vessel, click on tanks, configure tanks. If you were going to calibrate a different tank, you can click what you want to. So we're going to click fuel, and then you can enter the amount of gallons, 75 gallons, click OK, and that's done on there. And then we can go to our mercury gauge, and you have to go into calibration mode, calibrate a fuel tank capacity, you put 75, you click save, and you save all these. Scroll through here.
Just one more thing we're having to do to get ready, right?
Yep, and it shows us we have 23 gallons. I put 12, then I put another 12, and then he put another 12, so it should have 36 gallons. But it's also accounting for a reserve, but you're not going to see the reserve, so it's probably pretty close. It says 31%.
31% full?
Yeah. It's showing 26 gallons. So I'm assuming they're counting the other gallons as 10 gallons as reserve. That makes sense.
So that you don't run out?
Yep.
The reserve?
Exactly.
So when we're looking at the screen, it will tell us how much we have, but really we have 10 more.
You have 10 more.
Okay, gotcha. It's important I know that. How did we determine that we had a problem with the sending unit? What did you guys discover?
It was showing like 9% in the tank, which was like 9 gallons, or it was an off number. So Matt had me pull a fuel sender out, and I was calibrating the sender, but it was real finicky. On below half a tank, it would jump, and it was like preset numbers, but it's not supposed to be preset. It's supposed to actually show what's exactly in the tank. So we decided to replace the sender and check to see if it's accurate, and it's even now. It's not jumping numbers. I had to reset the calibration, and then now they're reading even. One says 23.2, and then this one's 23 gallons. But this isn't going to show points, the mercury gauge. It's only going to show, whole numbers.
What do you think about those batteries?
They're pretty cool. They're super light. It's cool because they have like a separate battery switch on them. So you just hit the little push button.
Yeah,
and they
did you
turn
see
off.
how much they weigh?
Like 20-something pounds.
Yeah,
right?
like 32-ish pounds, I think,
32 pounds.
if I remember correctly. Yeah, we weighed them.
All right, things are getting scary. I'm here with the guys. -1, AJ is on vacation, but we just put the registration stickers on, and we got fishing rods and all the gear is loaded up. We're gonna head over to the marina. We're gonna gas up and we're going fishing.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, not just the fishing trip, but we get to see how this boat performs right now with 4 loaded down gear, fishing, using, and then when you put that
New motor on.
that you have in there, we can see the difference.
It's got a 75-gallon tank. I figure I'll just fill it up since we're there. All right, let's get rolling. First time taking her out. I got her under tow, heading over to Sigsbee. They have a nice marina on the base there that we'll use. Uh-oh. Chris, what's going on?
He's saying it's shaking bad.
What, the engine?
It's shaking the boat. Just come over here.
Oh, new boat. Trying to get used to it. Not sure about this. What's going on?
Maybe it's just
That thing's just normal. The stainless steel props at idle, they shake a lot.
Get rid of those.
when I first started.
You're just a worry wart. Ah, see, that's smooth as butter, man. What are you talking about?
Shallow.
Well, yeah, it's super low tide. We got to get out in the channel. Be sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and keep watching. Oh, look at it, way over there.
Oh, yeah.
This might be a wahoo.
He's way out there.
You want me to go after?
Oh, sailfish, sailfish. Get this rod in. Somebody's got to get the rod in.
Again, I'm going to start turning and I'm going to start going forward.
I got the boat.
You very rarely catch them on a troll. Oh, did I lose it?
He's coming right at us.
I might have lost it. Oh, you're still there. Okay, no, slow down, slow down. He's still there. Whew, boy. Go easy, Chris. He's coming towards us again.
Okay. We're in neutral.
Give me a little left. There he goes. He's taking off. Okay, that's good, Chris, right there. Whew, boy.
He's way back there.
Yep. Ah, come on.
There's Matt just reeling away.
Yeah, I got it in high gear. He's coming right towards us. I'm trying to keep as much tension on I can.
You want Chris to go left?
Give me a turn to the left, Chris.
Go left.
Never seen the boss work this hard before.
Got him.
Has anybody landed a sailfish before?
Not here.
Okay, you got to grab the bill with both hands. I don't know if we have any rags. Or,
Yeah, we do had a rag up here.
yeah. I don't know.
You're not supposed to.
Give me some left. Gone.
Oh,
This is why I wanted this lure on. This is one of my favorite trolling lures. This little blue thing right here. They love that thing for some reason.
nice.
All right.
We had an okay day of fishing. It is better than the best day at work, so no complaints there. The only thing we really hooked into was that sailfish. After that, didn't have a whole lot, but the cool thing about it was our first time really taking the whaler out. They started off nice and calm, not even 1 footers, probably 5 knots or less wind. And it was overcast, so the sun did not beat down on us all day. But after about maybe an hour or 2 of trolling, all things, man, the weather just changed on us quickly. And all of a sudden our calm day turned into about 2 to 3s, the occasional 4. And we were in that 19-foot whaler, and I was driving it back, and it actually did really good. We were going head on into the seas coming back. We were definitely slamming some waves. We were doing about 25 on the way back, but the boat handled really, really well. No real complaints. Everybody was dry. The old man was a little shooken up. Stab at you now. But other than that, it was a good day of fishing.
So after you use your boat, especially in saltwater, if you want it to be in good shape, because I had appointments yesterday when we got back from fishing and I wasn't able to get to it. Okay, so first things first. This is a Mercury, and I have a flush hooked up, and you see the water draining out. So what you do is you hook this up. I put salt away in here, and then you turn it on, and it flushes all through the engine. You can see the sudsy stuff. That's the salt away going through the engine, getting all the salt out. So let's turn this off. We disconnect this, and I'll show you how this works real quick. You don't have to do this so much on freshwater, but saltwater you do. Or you should anyways. I've seen people that don't do it and they pay the price because their whole engine gets impacted with salt. Okay, so you got next to the trim switch here, pull this out, you unscrew it right here, and then you hook it up to that flush that I had here. You fill this cup up with salt off, hook this up here, and you just open this up and let it flush through the engine. So that's how you flush the engine. Then what I do is I spray the whole boat and trailer. I have hydraulic brakes on the trailer. I spray all that down with salt off, and then I spray the top of the boat down with salt off. And now I'm going to get up there, now that I got it all rinsed off with salt off, and I'm going to give it a scrub with some boat soap. Do not use dish soap or other things like that to wash your boat. It strips the wax off. so you don't want to do that. I've got my soap up there, I've got my bucket, I've got a white erase sponge that I set down up there that I'm going to touch up any spots, and I've got my brush, and I got my water. Okay, so I got my boat shoes on. That helps not make all these black spots. Yeah, so we had a client, great people. They had a boat and rarely used it. In fact, they tried to get us to buy it. I mean, when I say rarely used it, I mean maybe once a year. Never had it serviced or anything, never cleaned it when it came back. And when we went to pull a service on the engine before they sold it, we ended up finding the whole thing was full of salt that had dried up and caked on. And so we had a hell of a time getting it
Cleared out.
cleared out. Yep.
Why don't you tell us how it ran yesterday?
Ran amazing. So 75 gallons of fuel, probably about 80 gallons of fuel actually. 4 guys, so figure 800 pounds of guys and probably 12 gallons of water, at least 50 pounds of fishing gear. So just call it 1,000 pounds plus 75 gallons. And we were up to, the fastest we got up to was about 36 knots. And that's with the 150. So we haven't sold the 150 yet. We're still waiting to put the 225 on. I imagine with the 225, which should be fun, and you won't have to push the engine that hard. That 36 knots was at full RPM. With the 225 on there, you won't have to use that high RPM, which, you know, is more wear and tear on the motor. This is one of the reasons I love a Boston whaler. They're all filled with foam, right? So remember, yesterday morning at like 7:30, I put ice in here from our ice maker. This is the fish box or cooler, and look at that. So it's now pushing 3 o'clock the next day, and I still have plenty of ice. Hey, you want to hear something crazy? We have not been able to sell the Polar. That's that boat. So we've reduced the price. We haven't had any takers on it.
It hasn't been boating weather.
Yeah, that's true. It has not been.
So windy.
Yeah, has not been boating weather, that's for sure. The woman comes up with this crazy idea. She's like, well, see about trading both the boats in, this one and that one, and get a different boat, a bigger boat. So we'll have to see how that plays out. She wants me to look into yellowfin. I want to look into more Boston whalers. So give me your comments and thoughts on that craziness. I don't know if we should do it, but I really like this little boat, but it's not exactly set up for deep water.
And we like to deep drop.
Yeah, we like to deep drop, and it's, you can see the bow is pretty shallow. It did amazing yesterday out in the big water. No problems. Stayed pretty dry actually. I would say 2 to 4 foot swells and really choppy.
Maybe we'll sell this one next.
Yep. Or maybe we find one, we trade them both in and get a good deal. Appreciate you watching. Your advice and generosity is amazing. And if you could subscribe, share, like, thumbs up, comment, leave me comments. I love comments. We try to answer them all. There's a lot. But you guys come up with some pretty good stuff. Thumbs up, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Helps us out, helps us build the channel so we can bring you more adventures.